June 25, 1876. The rolling grasslands of Montana stretched for miles beneath a hot summer sun. Along the banks of the Little Bighorn River, thousands of Lakota Sioux, Northern Cheyenne, and Arapaho people had gathered, determined to protect their way of life and resist being forced onto reservations. For months, tensions had been growing across the frontier. The United States Army had been ordered to bring the tribes under government control, and one of the officers leading that effort was General George Armstrong Custer of the Seventh Cavalry. Confident of victory, Custer rode toward the vast encampment, believing he faced a much smaller force than was actually there. Among the soldiers and scouts was a Crow scout named Curley. He knew these lands, he understood the danger, and he saw signs that many others ignored. Before the sun would set, one of the most famous battles in American history would be fought. Hundreds of cavalry men would fall, Custer himself would never return, and the American frontier would be changed forever. As the fighting ended and smoke drifted across the prairie, Curley escaped the battlefield and made his way through hostile territory. Days later, he encountered the approaching forces of General Terry and helped confirm the terrible truth that Custer's command had been destroyed. The news would soon spread across America, shocking a nation and turning the Battle of Little Bighorn into legend. This is the true story of courage, survival, and the scout who lived to tell what happened on that fateful day.
June sun burning on the prairie, dust rising from the plain. The Seventh Cavalry was moving toward a fate they could not change. Among the blue-coated soldiers, one Crow scout rode ahead, reading signs upon the earth where others saw nothing instead. His name was Curley, raised beneath Montana skies. He knew the rivers and the valleys and the language of the tribes. He warned the men of danger, he saw the numbers growing strong. But pride can make a man stop listening when he believes he can't be wrong. He rode through smoke and thunder, through a valley filled with fear, watching history unfold around him as the end was drawing near. When the guns fell silent and the prairie held its breath, Curley carried the story home of Little Bighorn's death. The warriors gathered by the thousands across the rolling land. Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho prepared to make their stand. The sky was filled with rifle fire, the hills began to shake, and every man who rode with Custer faced the choice that day would make. He rode through smoke and thunder, through a valley filled with fear, watching history unfold around him as the end was drawing near. Bighorn's death. Across the grass he traveled alone beneath the sky, the only witness carrying the truth of how they died. Every mile weighed heavy, every hoofbeat told the tale of brave men lost forever, where the prairie winds still wail. He rode through smoke and thunder, past the ghosts of fallen men. The frontier would remember what happened there back then. And though the years have passed away, his story still lives on. The scout who rode through history when Custer's world was gone. The wind still crosses Little Bighorn, the grass still bends today, and somewhere rides old Curley's shadow along that dusty trail.